So we have an Samsung S8 Plus here, and it looks like everything works except for there's no display, and we've already tried a new display, and the problem remains. So I kind of hate fixing these things just because there aren't really schematics for them, and we don't have a whole lot to go on. But we're gonna attempt to fix this one anyways and see what happens. So I guess one approach that you can use when you don't have schematics for something is you can probably use diode mode. Really, I think that's probably your best bet. In this instance, it seemed like the phone was working fine, except there was just a black display. I didn't even see any backlight or anything on it. So that leads me to the LCD connector. So LCD digitized connector is all in one, and it's the same for the S8 and S8 Plus. And it's all right here. So what I did was I just went ahead and diode moded every pin and wrote it down. So now I know what the diode mode readings are. Unfortunately, this is a bad board. I mean, this is a bad display, so some of these are probably wrong. So now, when using diode mode, you always want to compare it to something. So I don't have another S8 Plus here to compare it to, but I do have an S8. And they seem to be very similar. There are some components that are a little different. Excuse me. So I just compared it to an S8, and the good thing is that on ZXW tools, there's actually an S8 schematics as well. So I was able to kind of get an idea of what the connector should look like on S8 Plus, but I don't have the exact readings for it. So what I did was on the S8, I diode moded really the only suspect pins on this S8 Plus that I'm working on. And when I'm diode moding something, I'm usually just looking for a short, really, where it shouldn't be short. With low resistance, with a difference in resistance, those are just going to be a little bit harder to detect. You really have to sit down and compare the diode mode readings of each pin. So, but usually I check for a short first, where it's not supposed to be short. And these three pins right here are displaying 0.007 volts, and which tells me that there's something wrong with these three pins right here, because this doesn't look like it's ground. All this right here is ground, and this is not connected to this, so this should not be grounded. So since I don't have the schematics for the S8 Plus, I went to the S8 in ZXW tools and clicked on this, and because it looks very similar on the S8, and I just kind of traced it. These two look like they're probably caps. This is probably a big filter. You go to the other side of the filter, and it leads to this chip right here, which is the Max 77838 chip, with another big capacitor here. So we've already kind of looked at one of these before, and we know that this Max 77838 chip seems to blow up every once in a while. And so I think, looking at the caps here, so I diode moded it, and since I don't have the exact schematics, I know that this cap right here is actually displaying the same reading as this pin right here, which is 0.007 on one side and then grounded on the other side. So this is the cap that it leads to, which ultimately leads to somewhere under this chip, one of these corner pins right here. I don't know which one it is, but this cap doesn't look bad, and then this doesn't really look bad either, and I don't think there's really anything else along that line except for this chip. So my plan is to replace this chip with a brand new one, and well, I'm going to take the chip off first, test this line, hopefully I get OL, and then go from there. Okay, so let's make note of where the plus sign is. Plus sign is, with this orientation, it's at the top right. Okay, so I'm going to take this chip off, test it, put a new chip on, hopefully everything works. Alright, so that's our plan. It was kind of a pain in the butt to remove the shield, actually. It's a little bit harder to remove. So Just make sure you use ample temperature heat. Okay, so I like protecting stuff, especially when I don't know what the hell I'm doing with these things. So I'm going to use 2 heat sinks, and I'm going to direct the heat away from the bad stuff. Okay, so 400 degrees Celsius with an airflow of 17. That's my standard. You can use whatever hell you want. And I don't use flux. You can if you want. And basically just heat and take off. Again, it should be right around 45 seconds or so. I mean, that's kind of what you're aiming for. That's not a hard rule, but that's kind of a rule that I kind of go with. If it's taking longer than 45 seconds, then you might want to hold the tip a little closer or turn up your heat. If it's faster, then you might want to pull your tip back or turn the heat down a little bit. So this is definitely more than 45 seconds already. So I'm just going to put my tip just a little bit closer. And if that doesn't work, then I'm gonna raise my heat a little bit, my temperature a little bit. I think it might be because Samsung uses a different lead-free solder, which is harder. Maybe. Yeah, this is not even budging. So maybe a little bit. No, yeah. All right, I need to turn my heat up. I'm actually going to put a little bit of flux on it too, just to help it because I'm struggling here to kind of get it going. So I've been using VS213. I think it's been great. For some reason, the NC559 IMTech flux is what I was what I was using before, but it had these like little beads of clumped up solder coming out of the tube. I don't know if it's because my solder is expired or what, but and sometimes it's really hard to push through the tube. I don't know if you guys experienced that or not, but with the VS213, it's just much more viscous, and I feel like it's a lot easier to work with. Not only that, but it doesn't brown as fast, and it's easier to clean off once it's done. So all those are benefits. And I think they call it the wettability is not compromised. So I'm still having a tough time removing this chip here. I might have to turn the heat up just a little more. There it goes. Just as I said that. Okay, so the chip is off. I'm gonna clean the chip. I'm just gonna put a little more flux on it. See, look, my soldering iron. Oh, it's not even on. That's why. Alexa, turn office on. Okay, so let's see. Let's clean this up and then test it like our plan. Alright, this thing is heating up. It's good to go. Now let's clean it up. Okay, that's good. So the moment of truth. let's turn on our multimeter in diode mode, and we will diode mode this mother right here. So red to ground, black to the test point, which is this, and it is showing OL now, so that is a good sign. So it seems like the chip was shorted. So I know it's one of the corner one. I think it's one of the corner ones. So let's find out which corner one it is. It's that one right there. So it's that corner connects to here. So I guess what we can do also is, did you test the chip, Sanjeev, or you never tested the chip? Okay, so let's test the chip. Okay, so orientation was here, so that point right there should represent the shorted. That point right there. Okay, now let's look for. Now we should probably look for ground, which is the opposite corner. Okay, so that's what we'll do. Okay, so just put it somewhere flat. No, we'll just put it here. Okay, so I think this is gonna be kind of hard to do, but anyways, I'm gonna see if I can just diode mode. So that should be ground, and then that's our test point. Let's see if this is shorted or not, or gives us points. See, that's the thing, it's not actually. It's giving me a reading. So yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what it is. Interesting. All right, well let's put a new one on, and then I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know why that was giving us a shorted reading, but let's just put another one on. Let's pray. All right, we have a brand new Max chip here. 77838. Okay, so before we do that though, let's just do it the right way, which would be to clean this thing. Clean it of the old flux, and you see how much easier it is to clean this thing? Oh, where did my chip go? There it goes. See how much easier it is to clean it with the VS flux? It's just much easier to clean off. That's just a huge benefit, I think. So let's apply some flux, and again, you can see how more viscous it is. And just remember, our orientation is top right. So top right, right there. Let's just double check this. Okay, those are brand new balls right there. There's a little bit of a thing right there. So let's get that out. Okay, so there's no magic to putting it back on. Just same old deal. I kind of like to melt it just enough so that it holds tight, and then I can just release it. Yeah, there it goes. So it's kind of held on by a ball or two, and then I like to just release it and then just let it melt by itself. Once it gets hot enough, it should sit in place by itself. And then I can kind of nudge it a little bit. So I'm at 416 degrees now with an airflow of 17. And it looks like I pushed this over a little bit, so I have to push this back once I. different pair of tweezers because that one is bent. Try to do two things at once here. There it goes. Okay, so still waiting for the chip to kind of melt, which it hasn't yet. Taking a ridiculous amount of heat. But you really want to see this thing sit down a little bit, which it hasn't yet. There it goes. There it goes. Just need a little bit of help. So okay, so that's good. Alright, that was a lot of heat. So let's take our things off here. I don't know if you guys even saw the whole video, placement of that, but I used quite a bit of heat. So let's take this off. Take this off. We'll wait a little bit since it's probably really hot. Actually, what we can do before that is we can probably just test this cap again, and hopefully it's okay. Okay, now it's at 0.454. Okay, that's good news. So let's just wait for this thing to cool down a little bit, and then we're gonna test it again. Showing a good diode mode reading, yeah. So I guess we can test this connector again, but so let's test this again. So it's just these 3 points right here that was showing. Okay, now it's 0.528. That's a very good sign. So I think this is gonna work. I mean, I hope this is gonna work. You're right. Sanjeev said it was the chip to begin with. I was like, how do you know it's the chip? He was like, it's the chip. I was like, how do you know it's the chip? And I said I don't like replacing chips unless I know what the problem is. And he was right. This problem led to this chip, but at least we know that it leads to this chip. Now, I hate replacing stuff just for the sake of replacing it. You know, I'm sure others don't like doing it either. I always like to get to the underlying problem, because I know that if I get to the underlying problem, then boom, you know, we can solve anything. So I guess the moral is we need to get some more of these chips, because that's our last one. And it seems like these chips fail often. This might be like a TriStar on this thing. So okay, so I guess it's getting kind of cool. Let me just plug it back in to my housing here. So I guess we'll know pretty quickly. I don't think we have to plug anything else in, right? So I think everything is pretty good. So I'm not going to plug anything in, really. I'm just going to plug the battery in. Hopefully things don't explode when I plug the battery in. And then I'm going to plug this cable in, the power cable. And hopefully, oh, this is going to be a, can you give me that USB-C? I don't even know if this display works because it's kind of cracked right here, so. Thanks. I should probably get some more of these, huh? Actually, let's do it here. Alright, so we have USB cable, USB-C cable. Plug it in. and voila, we get nothing still. So we get nothing. Am I missing something? Do I have to push power? Is that the power button? I don't know how these things work. Oh, it's on the right. Okay. It's terrible how I don't know how these things work. Well, maybe we should plug it into our ammeter and see what's going on. Let's see. Okay, so we're gonna plug it into our ammeter, and let's take a look, see what's going on here. Oh, hold up! I don't even think I have the connector plugged in. The power. I think the power thing is over there. Well. When I plug it in, shouldn't it show the charging symbol? Or? Alright, maybe the screen is bad too, so let's put in this new screen here and see if that helps it. So it's gonna be like this. Okay, plug the battery back in. I don't even know. I don't even think the power button is working right now, is it? I mean, like, so bad with these things. Well, it's pulling 0.28 amps, 0.29, and I don't see a battery charging symbol or anything like that. So it looks like there might be something else wrong with this damn thing, unfortunately. Okay. Let me see. Let me figure out what's going on. Okay, so I ended up checking some of the components around the. I can't see it now, but around the that Max 77838 chip that we replaced, and one was shorted. One of the coils was shorted, so I figured that it was probably a bridge under the IC, and so I took the chip off again, and sure enough, it was bridged. So I don't know, it just required a lot of heat, and maybe I just didn't use enough flux, or maybe it's this VS213 flux that I'm using that somehow made it bridge. So anyways, I ended up reballing that chip and putting it back, cleaned it up, put it back on, and um, the short was gone. So now, as you can see, the thing is working fine, and touch is working. Touch is working as well. So everything is good on this thing. And it was that chip that was shorted somehow. As you can tell, it was dropped here. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it. But this thing is pretty much back in business, minus the screen. That was also bad. So Samsung S8 Plus, no display repair. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching our video. I just wanted to point out a few things. Number one, we have an online forum now. If you go to microsoldering.com, click on forum up top, you'll see that you can post your questions here. We get a ton of questions on YouTube, and they're scattered. So my goal is to create this forum so that people can post their questions, and I will personally answer every single question that is posted on this forum. So go there. Number two is we have a online microsoldering class. We've had hundreds and hundreds, maybe 1,000 customers now or something like that. but it's 3.5 hours long. Goes through just about everything. We are working on adding subtitles to it, and we are looking at adding some more information. So it's $99 now. We were selling at 200, I think, or something like that, and we were selling separate courses. But everything is combined in one course now. It's $100. Go through our link to buy it. Otherwise, it's $150. So if you have any questions, let us know. We will answer them all through the forum. All right, don't call. Thanks.